I'm going to be kind to you. Mike's first characteristic of an entrepreneur, I note, Mike, is to treat others as you would like to be treated. Well, I'm going to treat you to a shorter talk than I planned because to keep to schedule, we want to be all going to lunch at 10 past. I'm going to share with you some of the highlights of the findings of a piece of original work that was commissioned by TEDxSheffield earlier this year and has recently been published. It's a study of disruptive innovation, specifically in the creative and digital industries. The question that we were asking is, what is disruptive innovation? Does it matter? What impact can it have specifically on the Sheffield City region? And do we want some of it? So I'm going to share some of the highlights with you. And at the end, I'm going to lace it with some of my own opinions and thoughts that have been stirred up by what I've heard this morning already. And I'm going to make a proposition to you, which, if you like it, you can take me up on. So let's see how we get on. The godfather of disruptive innovation is a guy called Clayton Christensen, who wrote a book called The Innovator's Dilemma. And this extracts the essence of what disruptive innovation is. It's to do with simplifying things. It's to do with making things more affordable or a better value proposition. It's to do with engaging with a whole new set of customers. It is very unlikely that you will become a disruptive innovator if you are only talking and listening to your existing customer base. It's all about offering a good enough solution at a lower price. Now, I don't know how many of my fellow entrepreneurs here run a mile from the idea of the word cheap. I've learned never to say the word cheap. I always use the word inexpensive if I'm offering something below my competitors. Cheap to me is a dirty word. Selling on price, I've mentored or advised over 500 startups in the past 3 years. And I would always advise a startup never to compete on price. So the first shocking aspect I find of the idea of disruptive innovation is that you have to offer something that is a better value proposition. And of course, we'll look at EasyJet as an example a little later on. Things just too complicated. Sometimes it's good just to resort to the simple things. Not only are things overly complex, but we want them to be perfect. And I've got a confession to make, which is I've just been involved in a transgression of trying to polish the baby's head, as I call it, when the creative entrepreneur really wants to get his baby out into the world, but they want to make it perfect before it sees the light of day. And most often it is a much better idea just to get something good enough out there and get immediate customer feedback. That's one of the essential things behind a publication, which is free to read online, or you can pay for a PDF from the people that developed Basecamp, called Getting Real, which I've read and failed to implement. So the key elements of disruptive innovation are, is it good enough, less complex? Is it cheap enough? And is it wide enough? Does it embrace a whole new set of customers? Very quick parallel there, an example would be EasyJet, I think is a good one. Is it good enough? Well, they stripped all the frills out of flying, it's true. They offered a better value proposition, it was cheaper, and by so doing, they introduced flights to a whole new customer base. Innovation comes with everything these days. So why does disruptive innovation matter? We hear about innovating ourselves out of a recession. There's a whole government department devoted to business innovation and skills. And anyone in this room, certainly if you're from the Yorkshire region, you are entitled to an innovation voucher, which pays for up to £3,000 of innovation in your business. It doesn't have to be completely new to the whole world of business, but the process or the product development, if it's new to your business, you will be eligible for a £3,000 innovation voucher, and you should take advantage of it. But that's, if you like, regular or continuous innovation. There's also an organisation funded by your lottery money called NESTA, the National Endowment for Science, Technology and the Arts, who are devoted to bigging up innovation in business and higher education. And we've just completed a successful pilot of putting enthusiastic, bushy-tailed MBA students with some industry experience from university management schools in Newcastle, in Manchester, and here in Sheffield, and wrapped them around or set them going on a project with a creative and digital business to see what happens. Very, very challenging to get the oil and water, the cultures of university and business, very different, but some great outcomes from that. But this is continuous innovation. What's wrong with that? Well, two things. What you might call feature creep, so you can't help but improve on what you've already got. So you end up with something like that. Just a brief look at latest mobile phones, for example. I came across this. I'm not quite sure whether it's a phone or a camera or a multimedia device, and of course it's all of those things. And I'm not sure which end of it I'd pick up, I'd want to hold. So one of the NESTA clients on the Creative Pioneer Programme, they have come up with what I consider to be a genuine disruptive innovation. And what they've done is they've produced a credit card-sized mobile phone with no keys on it, no screen on it, and it's programmed with maybe your parents' phone number or the coach of your soccer team or whatever it is, or the rescue service, the motor rescue service, and you just have this mobile phone in the glove compartment of your car. So if you break down, you just press one button and you're instantly through. So in that sort of disruptive innovation, less is more. This is my confession time. This is the recently launched new Inspiral website, which is both access to experts for startup business advice, but also a set of business development tools or business promotion tools. There's an email marketing campaign manager, there's a web builder with e-commerce, there's a virtual office. And I have fallen into the same trap of just adding one more feature, just one more feature. So it's nearly ready to be promoted UK-wide, but I've decided to include a grant finder and I've decided to include a business planning tool. Now, I should really get that out into the market and see what the customers want. We've had first-hand experience, all of us, of tsunamis of various types, not least the financial tsunami of the past year. And no matter how innovative you are, it is likely that we will all be overtaken by disruptive innovation. Something that is highlighted in the black swan phenomenon. So what does it look like? Very importantly, it's not just about technological innovation. There needs to be innovation in the business model as well. Bob Higgins is a partner in one of the largest US VC firms, and those are some of the brands that he's invested in. And he says, where we succeed, we back new business models. So it's not just about coming up with a sexy new gadget or new technology or new process. And here are some examples of what the technology element may be and how the business model differed. We're all familiar with Amazon's one-click and, of course, also their recommendation technology. But really, the business model allows them to receive the cash for all their shipments before they pay their suppliers. So they were always cash rich. The eBay auction system, they built in trust into the relationship between buyers and sellers. iTunes was really about, it's a sort of Gillette model in reverse. In the Gillette model, you give away the razor and they make the money on the consumables. It seems to me that iTunes and the iPod is a reverse model of that, where in effect they give away the tunes, the consumables for free or very, very low cost, because they're interested in selling the iPods that it syncs to. Who knows what the business model for Spotify is? Even they don't know what it is. So I thought, what local examples may we have? And let's just see if they pass the disruptive innovation test. Interestingly, both of these examples were kick-started by very risky, adventurous, innovative cash from a fund called Melt, which is finished now, but it put great ideas on the table and it backed them. One of them is called the casting scene, and it allows aspiring actors to audition for real film projects, but without having to drive down to London to be told next. It's a long way to go to hear that one word. So you submit your filmed, your webcam or your videoed audition for a particular script. And it's disruptive in that lots of people can now audition, whereas they might not have before. And it's inexpensive, and it's good enough. So that might fit the bill. This is a project I've been involved in for the past couple of years, which is an alternative 2D barcode system on the phone. Is it disruptive? Only if it removes the existing incumbent, which is the QR code. I thought I would finish with my prophecy of ones to watch. Who's going to be the next disruptive innovator. This one, Love the City, was started by a guy called Julian Bovis, who was the Daily Telegraph's online manager. He was responsible for all of the Daily Telegraph's online media. And he loved Manchester. He moved to Manchester, tried to find a flat, and couldn't, and he decided to do it himself. He has no idea yet how this business is going to make money. He does not charge the vendor, the seller or the buyer, anything for selling their apartment online. He just has a hunch that if he becomes the number one, like the Beatles were number one, he's going to be number one in this marketplace, and then he'll worry about how to make money out of it. So that's one of my favourites for the future. How can we all have some? This is where my proposition comes in. A chap called Verden-Weber has set a model for us called the innovation cell. And it's a way of getting people from different sectors, cross sectors, maybe biotech, maybe nano, maybe creative and digital, together and do disruptive innovation deliberately. My opinion, my view, is that if we adopt this as a pure, cold, sterile business approach, just another technique, it will fail. What I've loved about the speakers this morning is the passion and enthusiasm for what you do. And there is no substitute for getting engaged in what are your passions. And if that coincides with your business, that is the way to go. So if you have a mind to explore with me what disruptive innovation might look like for your business or for your next venture, you're very welcome to email or Twitter me. And just to finish, this is how to see with new eyes. One of my friends and entrepreneurs, Jerry Lampson, who's a designer and web developer, he sees things in a new way. We were walking, you'll spot the hubs in the background, the Sheffield Hallam Union building, and it was Jerry who spotted the poppy in the concrete. You have to see with new kind of eyes. This is my contribution to disruptive innovation. A Sheffield city centre rooftop with a Bedouin tent. And this, you're all invited to join me in my Bedouin tent to do some smoking and disruptive innovation thinking at the end of today. Thank you.